comes my daughter, Kelly Garvey. She says, excuse me.
It's all right.
She says to me, Mom, I'm feeling great. I got a direction in life. You got to do this. Follow me. So here comes Sophia.
You know, when you think of a priestess, if you would, I mean, me, okay, so I'm going to say when you, so I'll just speak for myself. But when I think of a priestess, I think like, you know, if you were to see a priestess, it would be a very ceremonious kind of thing. Is it like that in essence? Do you, like when you say you call in the elements and things like that, is it a lot of that going on, how you bring it in? Or is it just like, hey, sit down and let's look at this together? Like, what does that look like?
And so, yes, it can be very ceremonial. And when the priestess sisters get together and do ceremony together, it is very ceremonial.
Very strong energy.
Yes. And so we always want to claim the sacred space, that circle that we are coming together in, claiming it, providing spiritual protection and fortification. Even before we met today, I already did that, because we know that even on this medium, we can get attacked by the dark forces. And so I always tell everybody, make sure you set your spiritual protection and fortification. So yes, and in terms of the ceremonial aspect of it, it can be very elaborate or it can be very simple. And for me, I'm the person that says simple's the way to go. I like simple. And so I have sprays that I use to, you know, claim my space, to call in the Sophia Christ consciousness, to call in my mentorship council, my galactic team, my spirit allies, and people can get really specific about, you know, who they're calling in.
When you say you called in your Sophia Christ consciousness, can you go a little further with that?
Yes, I can. So for me, the way that I relate to what people call God or God, Goddess, the unified source field, is through the sacred feminine principle and the sacred masculine principle. And we see that in the yin yang symbol. We see the black swirl, which is the sacred feminine. We see the white swirl, which is the sacred masculine. And within each, there's a little white dot in the black swirl and a little black dot in the white swirl, which is showing that the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine are always in sacred union, that which we call hieros gamos, sacred marriage. And so I relate to the sacred feminine principle as Sophia, the cosmic Sophia. I relate to the sacred masculine principle as the cosmic Christ. And so that, because that's an energy, it's a frequency, I work with the Sophia Christ consciousness, Sophia being the consciousness of divine wisdom, Christ being the consciousness of divine will. And when they are in sacred union, the manifestation of their sacred union is that divine love frequency. That's what people feel coming through their heart center, because they themselves are an embodiment of the Sophia Christ consciousness.
So what about the galactic team? Where do they fit into this whole thing?
Thank you for bringing up this project that I was assigned, so to speak. Actually, I was asked if I would facilitate. Back in January, the Sophia consciousness, Sophia, asked me if I would host this project. And at first I thought it would be something that would take me through about right now, where we were going to be downloading these rose gold Christos Sophia light codes into these predetermined Venus temples that are on the planet. And then we would be linking them all up together, which we're doing next month in October, bringing that new Earth light grid online. So I was set to go. I said, yes, I can do that. Yes, I will facilitate that. And then probably, I think it was about May, she gave me the next piece. And the next piece is, okay, now that this new Earth light grid is online, what I want you to do is, as we go through the next session, phase of the Venus synodic cycle. This project is in alignment with the Venus synodic cycle, and I will explain that in a minute. But as we go through the next phase, what I want you to do is to help people to repair and reactivate the 12 strands of DNA, of course, starting with the third strand, because the idea is that while the 3rd through 12 strands within our sacred physical bodies have been disconnected or turned off, they are still very online in our divine template. So at each ceremony, we are repairing, matching up the strand of DNA in our physical body with that strand of DNA in our divine template, and then reactivating it and bringing it online. And so by August of next year, we will have all 12 strands of DNA completely reactivated and operating through these physical bodies. Now, of course, you have to have a physical body that's at the frequency to be able to hold that power and to be able to allow the divine gifts of those strands of DNA to start to manifest through it. And so we're going to be using what I call quantum crystal technology. This is my Vogel crystal.
Oh, that's a very special crystal.
Yes, it is. And you may have heard about it from Ilana Denon and Dan Willis and their...
Actually, you know how I heard about that crystal? A good friend of mine, Carol Romine, she has one, and it's for like her prized possession.
Yes, yes. In fact, I did a whole presentation on how what they call the yin end, or the feminine end, is actually the Sophia end, and the yang end, what they call the masculine end, is really the Christ end. And there is a point in the middle of the crystal that gets activated, and that activation is where the angles of these two ends kind of cross each other. And that point, they call it the eye of the crystal. That is the point that taps you right into the divine love frequency.
Why is that crystal, the Vogel crystal? Because it looks like, if you didn't know, like I didn't realize how special it was to her, and I picked it up and she's like, don't touch it. So, but why, if someone didn't know, because you would just think it was a clear quartz crystal, how is that particular crystal so different? Why is that one so different?
Well, first of all, you can use any quartz crystal. What makes this one so different, as you put it, is the cut of the angle. This angle, the Sophia end, the feminine yin end, is at, I think it's a 52-degree angle, which is the angle that's in the Great Pyramid. And then the yang end, the Christ end, is at about 60 degrees. So because of the fact that you've got this angle and that angle coming down, where they cross each other, that horizontal, where the two angles cross each other, that's the eye of the crystal. That's where you've got access to the unified source field through the love frequency, because the love frequency is the building block of all of, you know, everything manifested and unmanifested. The love frequency is the bridge. And so the quartz crystal has the structure, the fundamental structure that we see in the flower of life diagram. That is the structure of our planetary grid, is the structure, as I said, of the unified source field. So it gives you a secure channel to be able to go in and create whatever it is that you can envision, a new timeline, a new level of health. As I said, we're going to be using it to help us to reconnect, repair, reactivate these strands of DNA.
And that's so awesome. How do you go about doing this repair? So I just want to make sure I'm following you. Are you doing it on an individual basis or a group basis where you're having a class and holding it, or are you doing it like on a global thing?
Very good question. The intention was for it to be a global project. And I was putting out the Zoom links. We do it all on Zoom so that anybody around the globe could join us. Well, by the second month, we figured out we can't put it out on social media because we started to get attacked. And so we meet on Zoom. It's by private invitation to keep the attacks down. And then what we do is we go, again, we go into a sacred space. I call in claim the sacred space, call in who we need to call in. And then we travel through our etheric bodies to the locations of the Venus temples. So the Venus temples that we've been working with, there's one in Turkey, Egypt, the Canary Islands, France, Hawaii, Arizona, New Orleans, and in Spain. Those are so we travel from our etheric body to that specific temple. We actually have, because I am of an Arcturian and Pleiadian galactic lineage, we have Arcturian and Pleiadian brothers and sisters that are working on this project with us that show up there. Each Venus temple has their own set of temple guardians that are there, and we actually go through a ceremonial process to bring about this intent for why we are there.
That's really cool.
It is very cool.
How does one know that they're from an Arcturian or
I was gonna say.
Pleiadian lineage? Like, how do you
How do you figure that one out?
how do you even get there?